Oh, just going live. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Stu from Newcastle Brew Shop. I've got Patina. Say hello,
Yes.
Patina. And young Dave here with me. Dave started with us. It feels like a long time ago.
Feels like forever.
But it wasn't that long ago. So today we're going to have a little chat about some distilling stuff and the Hunter United Brew Club. And in exciting news, we now have a third store in Western, in the Hunter Valley, just out of Curry up near Cessnock Way. So while it's only a small store at the moment, it's got a few things in it. Hoping in the coming weeks we'll be able to get everything that's available at Port Stephens or Islington into Western for us, so that we can cover all your brewing needs. But 15 Station Street. Check out the website. You'll find all the details. Come in and say hello. Righto. Dave, how you going?
Yeah, great, mate. Great.
So I should start off with saying we are talking about distilling today. Technically, legally in Australia, Joe Thickbroom, hello Thicky. Technically in Australia, distilling is illegal. It's not so much a criminal offence, it's more of a taxation thing. So what you are supposed to do is register yourself with the tax office, and you still tell them how much you're making so that you pay tax on that. All the information's available on the ATO website. My advice is to register yourself so that you're covered, but that's entirely up to you. So that's our first disclaimer. Don't shoot the messenger. I reckon for home brewers, it should be legal because it's just a hobby. It's perfectly safe these days. You're not cooking over fire, making methanol, and blowing yourself up and all that sort of stuff. That doesn't happen like that anymore. But maybe one day with a bit of lobbying from the government, we might be able to get it legalised. But they probably want every textile they can get at the moment, so it ain't going to happen in the short term. Anyway, Dave, you've done a little bit of distilling in the past. You've sort of used chips and made whiskies and stuff. How did you sort of get into it?
I like whiskey. I like my Irish whiskies in particular. I've travelled through the UK quite a bit. I lived there for a time, so we'd go to all the distilleries we could on weekend trips up in Scotland and over in Ireland. We went to the Bushmills distillery. I've been there a couple of times, and I think when you like something, you kind of think, wow, I'd like to make this. I don't drink a lot of beer myself, so I haven't done a lot of brewing. Only in the shop have I done any beer brews, but yeah, learning how to make whiskey from scratch. I know how they do it in the big distilleries, but to be able to do it on a small scale at home would be awesome.
Yeah,
it'd be a lot of fun. I've also been to a gin distillery, done a course there where they teach you all about the botanical options, the ingredients that have to go into making a gin, the history of gin, all that sort of thing. So I thought it'd be fun to make a bit of a gin as well. Again, I'm not a big gin drinker, so I don't know what I'm doing. So when you buy kits, which you'll see in a minute, that you can get from the shop, all the hard work's been done for you. But the actual process of distilling itself is really quite fun. There's a process to it. There's a lot of resources out there, so it's not that complicated. But there's just certain steps and certain temperatures and certain things you do to make it safe for drinking, for actually doing it, like Stu said, not over bare flames. I have seen a guy distilling over a gas cooker and something leaked and it turned into a bit of a fire hazard. So there is very safe ways to do things these days with the equipment that's available. I recommend getting into that. But yeah, I would like to try and make stuff from grain, like the guys who are doing, a lot of people are now doing grain beers, washes, all that. That'd be good. That seems a bit too technical for me, but whiskey could often be a single malt, easy to do, all that sort of thing. I'd like to try that sometime.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Pedals in the background there over your shoulder. You've got a little air still. I think you've got to play with one of those, haven't you?
I have. and really enjoy playing with mine, actually. So the joy of these is that for homebrewing purposes, the size of the boiler on this is considered legal standard. So for brewing at home in Australia, a boiler should not be used for condensing any more than 5 litres of fluid. So these guys hold 4 litres at a time. They do not require constant running water as you do with your larger reflux stills. It's just electricity, and then it's got a fan unit in the top that cools the wort and creates your condensation, giving you your alcohol or your biofuels or your
essential oils.
Essential oils.
And these actually do work great if you're looking to try and make essential oil. You can make essential oils using water or a neutral spirit as a base, and you'll get a good outcome with one of these. But yeah, so this is a pot still design, so not designed to strip all your flavour. Great for turning a neutral spirit into gin, whiskey washes into whiskey, or also if you do rum washes using molasses, fantastic for that because you're not stripping flavour. You get a lesser percent of alcohol and smaller quantities than you would normally see in a larger reflux still, but you'll get a fantastic product. Yeah, great for gins and rums and whiskies.
Yeah, cool. So I know that they take a little gin basket like that. I'll hold that up there. And basically what you do with the gin basket, it clips up inside that black lid. You add your botanicals, which we've got on there. That's our Newcastle dry kit. Okay. Add your botanicals into the basket, clip it up into the black lid, run your wash through the still, and it comes out. It's about 60% on a neutral run, and then I guess to run it through again, it might come out around the 50% mark. You might lose a little bit of alcohol, but you should end up with a little bit over 1.5 litres of product. But they're really good. Caravanners, portability, short on space in the unit. Vodka, yep, you can do vodka with it. Obviously, you could just run your neutral wash, and I mean that's just a dry gin essence. But there's heaps of different essences out there. Vicky, we could do citrus vodka, straight vodka. There's a myriad of flavoured fruit vodkas out there you can do. There's different clones of Bombay Sapphire, Russian vodkas. Yeah, there's heaps of different vodkas you can do. And that's just a simple matter of adding an essence to the neutral spirit that the pot still can make. There you go.
Just be really important with vodka that you have done your process as well, because if your neutral spirit is not clean, has not been filtered well, you will taste any slightly funky flavors. So just be really mindful of that with your vodka, because vodka is such a neutral flavor itself.
Cool. We've got a question there from David Scaines. A reflux still versus a pot still versus a bubble still, if you had to only choose one. Something to integrate with the Digiball Brewzilla. So this is a reflux still, okay? So basically what happens here, cold water gets plugged in, hot water comes out. This is connected to a boiler. It's boiling up your fermented wash. The steam rises up through here, and it's full of packing. I don't know how well you can see that in there, guys, but there's stainless packing up in there. It travels up through here. All the crappy stuff that's essentially heavier than alcohol drips back down into the boiler, and it gets refluxed back through. And your product on the product arm, this actually has a little pinhole in it where it's not stopped, it's only slow, or it's on fast. There's no stop. The reason for that is so it doesn't build up pressure and explode. Okay, and then your product comes out the product arm. That's a basic run of a reflux still. One of these should give you about 4.5 litres of around the 93% purity mark. if you were to go to an alembic style still or a pot still like this one, you could probably get one of these, Dave, that'd fit your Brewzilla, I'm sure. And basically what it does, it gives you about maybe 60, 70% purity of alcohol. And you'll get a few litres out of that. And then from that, you can still make, excuse me, still making a neutral spirit, but these are really designed to not strip so much flavour. So if you're doing a grain wash or a molasses wash or something like that. What you can do, and the most efficient way of making gin, is run it through your reflux, come out at 93%, put your gin botanicals in your little gin basket, which screws up on the inside of the lid of the alembic. Whack that in on top, run your 93% purity that you've watered back down. You've probably watered it down to maybe the 60% mark. Run it back through the alembic top, and that's the best way to make gins, because you've stripped all the crap out with the reflux still, and then you're grabbing the flavour from the gin botanicals and infusing it into the spirit to make gin. So, Dave, to answer your question, I would think probably something that's got an alembic top pot still is probably going to give you the best results for what you need. If you were to pull all the packing out of this reflux still, you can get the same result. However, because we don't have the surface area in this reflux head as what we do in the alembic top, the result's not going to be quite as good. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, you can do you always do a stripping run, I guess, with the alembic pot anyway, if that's all you're using, and that'll get rid of, it'll condense your alcohol, you get a better quality, and then water it down and go again, maybe with your botanicals. But again, if you want to strip the flavour, you really need a reflux, because a dome just won't catch all the flavour that you want to pull out of it if you're after a neutral spirit. But for whiskies, if you've got a malt wash or something in there and you want to get all the flavour you can, you still do a stripping run and then a spirit run, taking your cuts out of the dome, and you'll get very good result at home with that. Otherwise, yeah, you use a reflux and then you go for a neutral spirit, as neutral as you can get it, and then you can play with your flavours afterwards with your essences. And there's so many whiskies and vodkas and everything you can add. So yeah, the reflux, that's the pure distilling one. It gets a very clean result. It's good.
There's a T500. I don't have a T500 here with me. The pedal's got one. They're available in copper or stainless. Essentially, my understanding is that, and I'm no expert on this, there's plenty of other people that know what they're talking about better than me with regards to this stuff, but stainless steel v copper. Stainless steel is probably easier to maintain, but the copper will give you a better result in that it reacts differently with the sulfites when you're doing the spirit run, and you don't get some of those off flavors that you can get if you don't use copper. In saying that, you can simply add copper saddles to your stainless reflux, and you'll get the same result. It's like beer too, though, isn't it, Pedal? You just need to clean it. How many times do we get guys coming in or people coming in that, oh, I'm only getting 2.5, 3 litres. When was the last time you cleaned your still, mate? Oh, I rinsed it out after every time I use it. No, you actually need to pull the packing out, guys. Turn it upside down in a bucket. Run a citric wash through it. It'll go all green and horrible, especially when it's reacting with the copper, but it gets all that rubbish out. Every 12 months, just change the packing. It's stainless steel wood, and you'll get a heaps better result from your still. Anything you want to add there, Pedals?
No. I do know that Dave did ask about bubble stills, but that's not something any of us have much experience in. Right. That would definitely be our research.
I'll do a bit of research on that one for you, Dave. I can't help you with the bubble still. I've never really had a play with one. In saying that, I'm trying to chase this book up. This dude, Aaron Hyde, he works for Grainfather and Bevy. He's just he's punched out this really good book on how to distill. I'll get some in the shop, but that I've started reading that. That seems to be a really, really good resource. We'll chase some more of them up. With your cleaning your air still, do you run a citric wash through the system, like if you were doing a run? Is that the way to do it?
I haven't on mine, and it's not packed because it doesn't have the packing. It's not running quite the same. I just make sure it's rinsed well, and I sometimes just do a boiling, like just water run through. But I honestly have not used my air still enough to go deep into the cleaning. But the cleaning with a little basic air still is very different because you can easily rinse them out, particularly with like your pot condensers and stuff like that, because they aren't full of packing. The reason why you want to run the citric wash through your reflux stills is that packing and the steel wool and the copper saddles that are inside, they literally get coated with all the off products of your wash. And once they get coated, then the next flows of wash that are going through are not making contact with the steel wool and the copper saddles that are used to create your spirit. So they need to be clean in order to actually create a good, clean spirit for you. So it's a little bit different with the air still, as long as it's cleaned out on the internals. It's not flowing through anything, any packing on the inside to kind of create a mess in there.
Also, sorry, with these, you can puke through these as well, which is when the boiler boils up through and you actually get liquid coming out the top. And that's when it's, if you don't use a distilling conditioner or something, and we sell that in the shop, some people use butter. It's to stop the anti-foaming. One guy actually said to me the other day that he uses something out of a carpet cleaner product or whatever because it's an anti-foaming agent. Apparently it's food grade. I'd probably stick with something from a brew shop rather than from Woolworths. But yeah, if you puke through here, then you know you're going to have all this sticky, gooey mess all over your packing. So yeah, if you pull all that out, you need a sort of long bit of wire or something to get the top ones. Give it all a really good soak, clean, hot water, citric acid. You'll get a much better product at the end of the day.
Cool. Michael Dennis, my favourite botanical. My favourite botanical is my botanical that I made in conjunction with my wife, who's looking at me from the other room. No, not that one. The one I did at the Herb Distilling Gin course. Absolute thumper. We called it level 43 because at the time my wife was about to turn 43. And we put a whole heap of native botanicals in there. And it took about 6 weeks to come good. But we won the day. There was another half a dozen guys there, and we blew them all out of the park. But it had some juniper coriander, some grapefruit, Illawarra plum, some strawberry gum, some angelica root, and a Geraldton Geraldton wax. And that came out superb. So I highly recommend go to Herb Distillery and do that course. It really is a lot of fun. And they had a couple of hundred different varieties of botanicals there to play with. But we've got a Newcastle Dry, Citrus Smash, Earth, and what are the others?
And a fine floral, that we do in conjunction with Botanical Boy. The Newcastle Dry and the Citrus Smash are our most popular sellers. And go down a treat. We also stock the Still Spirits range of botanicals. They do the mint gin, a rosemary, and a London Dry that we typically stock. The mint is pretty good if you like mint. Obviously, favourite botanical is based on what you enjoy in flavours. I think the citrus in ours and the mint in Still Spirits is pretty good.
Sweet. Cool. What are we going to do? Sugar wash. Let's quickly run over how to do a sugar wash. Excuse me. Basically, it's COVID hangover. Basically, it's 8 kilos of white sugar or about 9 kilos of dextrose. We add in a yeast. So these have yeast and nutrient in them. This is a 48-hour classic yeast. There's pure distilling ones. There's 24-hour ones. There's fast for hot weather. There's a pure. With the pure is actually apparently does a really, really good job, and you get a really nice clean spirit from it. That's the pure one there. That's the fast one. They're all available in the shop. But basically, you mix that up with 8 kilos of sugar and 9 kilos of dextrose. Let it ferment for 7 to 10 days as you would a beer. And then you then pour that liquid into your still, and you're essentially cooking it off, okay, and stripping out all of the all of the nasties from that wash. So I've got a little chart here in front of me. So when you're doing your run, you don't have to worry about it with the air still, but with the reflux still, you should get rid of the first sort of anywhere between 50 and 150 mil. I just get rid of the 150 mil. I don't care. I don't want to get sick. That's got all the nasties in it. They're going to send you blind. They're going to give you a hangover that outlasts religion. You're going to wake up feeling like crap. Don't drink the first 150 mils, okay? Use it as a cleaner. Pour it back in your still to use next time, whatever you want to do. Just don't drink it. You'll bloody kill someone, kill yourself, or make yourself really, really sick. So when you first turn your still on, depending on the type of still and how it works, the pure distilling one, for example, sits around that 78, 80 degree mark. You're not going to get your neutral alcohol till that liquid in there has hit 78 degrees, and you're only going to get so much. So you get your heads and your tails, and you strip those out. And you do that with smell and taste and just experience. Taste it'll be sweet, and yeah, that's okay. Or you'll taste nasties and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So you just do taste, Dave, when you do.
Oh no, I haven't done enough to know what I'm tasting. So I generally go by volume. So I have say 300 ml jars, and I'll take get rid of the 4 shots, of course, always, and then first jar, second jar, third jar, and then by the time you've done close to a litre, you know you're into your hearts, and that's the good gear. And depending on whether it's neutral or whether you're using the pot still, with the reflux still, I generally take it all out because it just all into one big carboy, because it's all coming out at about 93 to 96%, and you're getting pretty much good stuff, and it's neutral. So I don't know if I would be able to tell the difference so much, because I haven't got that much experience in it, as to what it tastes like to start with, towards the middle of the hearts.
Yeah.
So there's videos on how to use that particular pure distilling one, which is very, very good. But if you're doing the pot still, definitely take your cuts. Some people take small jars all the way along, and then they'll taste as they go, and they go, right, now I'm tasting more acetone flavors or more fruity flavors, and then they'll go to another jar, and then the whole fun of blending comes in later. But I tend to go by volume, and then take up to a certain temperature, take the hearts, and then you get into tails, and again I go back down to smaller jars, because then you can taste those later and mix what you like and what you don't like in. How about Patina with the air still, which I haven't used? Do you do anything with cuts like that as well?
You can definitely, and it does make a difference. And I certainly, there's a school of thought where you can take off your first 700 mils, take off 750. I've heard of people taking 800 mils plus from a 4-litre run wash on the air still is genuinely pushing into some really unpleasant flavours. And so it's with the air still, it's more about being mindful of your amounts and understanding what you enjoy in flavour. I do double distill in the air still as well, where I take and then liquor back and run back through again, even without botanicals in there or whatever, to give it a really clean spirit. But yeah, definitely it can be worth taking cuts if you recognise the flavours, but it's really more important to just limit how much you're taking out. So for me, I cap it at 750, and I think that's a really nice amount. I wouldn't push past the 800 mils per 4-litre run.
Yeah. it's tempting to think I'll just get some more out of it, but what you're going to get at the tail end is going to be wet dog, pretty much guaranteed.
It's going to be crap. It's going to make the rest of the good stuff you've just put the effort into making taste like ass.
I think it's experience that you need to be able to go by taste. I'm a bit more scientific minded. I think if someone's done this and they've recommended doing it that way, I'd rather go with their formula. But with experience, I'd like to be able to go, now I'm starting to taste that and go with that. But that's only time putting into it. Yeah,
cool. Other things we do, filter our spirit. I know people that triple filter. Activated carbon is the go there. You can get the filters that have the little filter cartridges. They're quite good too. Run through those once or twice. The good thing about carbon is you can wash it out a couple of times before, so you can reuse it. You don't just have to keep replacing it. That's always a good thing to do. I recommend doing that. And then once you've made your spirit, you can soak it on different things. So these are a bourbon stave from bourbon barrels. These are a rum oak chip from old rum barrels. Okay, we've got whiskey, bourbons, rums, French oak, American oak, toasted, natural, charred. There's spiles at the shop. There's all sorts of things you can play with. If you're going to do that, invest in some glass, okay? Don't store your spirit in plastic. It will chew away at the plastic and you get those plastic rubbery flavours going into your neutral spirit. Store them in glass. These are a 5 litre demijohn. They're $20. 100 grams of chips in the bottom of the demijohn. Clip the lid on. Sit it up on the shelf. 3 months. Don't touch it for 3 months. Don't drink it in a week and go, oh, it tastes like wood. Yeah, of course it's going to taste like wood, you muppet, because it's only been on there a week. Leave it in there for 3 months to do its thing. If you're not happy with it after 3 months, you can get one of the flavourings or whatever you like, your rum, your bourbon, your whiskey, and just add a little bit in to enhance the flavour for you. But at least 3 months, and you'll have a really good result. And you can just play with all those. That's the good thing about it. You can do small 1 litre bottles if you wanted, and just have different chips doing different stages at different temps, different parts of the house. Obviously, the darker the better. But use glass. Don't use plastic.
A lot of people talk about force aging stuff as well with wood. So if you've got wood in your thing and you put it in the fridge and you chill it down and then you bring it out and you warm it back up, it's actually going to draw the tannins and the stuff out of the wood quicker. It's not really aging because aging has to do with time. This is actually just trying to force the maturity and the wood flavors in and out. And again, it's a very subjective thing. Some people put half a small bag in because they don't want it tasting too woody. I think I've over-wooded something in smaller jars with a bigger bit of wood, and rather than wait 3 months, I probably could have given it a month. And so again, it's probably by taking a small taste every now and then, just to see how it's going and how it's traveling. Because
of an afternoon, not of a morning.
Yeah, of course.
It's not good when you taste it in the morning. It's something like a brewery.
Yeah. So
you can put these in the microwave to heat them up before putting them in. I have heard of people doing that. There's a couple of good YouTube channels. I know Still It, Jesse over in New Zealand, where distilling's all legal. God damn it. He has a really good channel on there.
Legitimate hobby.
He probably doesn't do my business any good because he doesn't like any of this stuff, but he does have some really good info and he's a pretty clever bloke when it comes to distilling. So I do recommend jumping on YouTube and checking out Jesse's Still It channel. Liquid yeast, Stone Heckle. Well, it just so happens, Mr. Heckle, that I spoke to some Australian producers of liquid yeast. And said liquid yeast is down in Melbourne and they're hoping to have it to me by the end of next month. It will be so many parts, I can't remember the number now that he told me, so many parts per million, so you won't need to activate it. You'll just be able to go straight in and it's going to take off. So that's all, excuse me, all Aussie stuff. It's going to come up from Melbourne. So as soon as I've got that list, I'll put that out and we'll start throwing some orders in. And Stoney, you can order what you like, mate, and let me know how it goes. I'll certainly be playing with it as well. But I really do like the fact that it's Aussie. I don't have to fly it in from the States and try and sell it all in a rush. They assure me that it's all going to have a 3 to 6 month shelf life on it, providing you look after it. So, yep, we will have liquid yeast. So, hopefully, in a month or so. What else were we going to mention? No, Patina spat it. She's walked off. She's had enough.
No, David just asked if we have seltzer nutrient. Now, we are stocking the Mangrove Jack's seltzer yeast and nutrients, which is a combination. If you're looking for nutrient alone, we do tend to stock that in store, which is really good for that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, we do have the Mangrove Jack's seltzer yeast and nutrients in.
The other thing that's been unavailable for a long time is alpha amylase. I have some alpha amylase on a truck as we speak. It left Melbourne on Friday, so it should be here by Christmas. So it's on its way. We haven't been able to get it for ages. So if you need some alpha amylase, it's on its way. I've got some glucosamase there, I believe. But alpha amylase is the one that everybody's been after. So it's on its way, I assure you.
One thing we didn't touch on before, I think you were about to hold up a pack. Is that right? One of the distilling packs before. They do come in a little kit. So you've got either the Still Spirits Turbo or the Pure Distilling, or there's one also for the Air Still. In the kits, you'll get the yeast, the carbon, and also the clear. We didn't talk about clearing or putting carbon in.
You didn't actually. I'm going to go and fill up my beer. You talk about carbon and clear.
All right. Well, Patina can back me up here with the props. So putting a carbon in your sugar wash seems really counterintuitive in a way because it goes all black and it makes a mess and it's scary. But what that carbon's doing is taking out some of the unwanted flavors and stuff that are in your sugar wash. So in the kit, I won't open it up, but carbon, you sort of massage the little sachet and you pour it in big careful it doesn't splash because it does sort of stain stuff. It'll wash off pretty easy. There we go. And the clear is when you're, if you take a hydrometer reading at the beginning, get your original gravity, thank you very much. And then at the end, you take your specific gravity reading and your fermentation's finished. Throw the clear through it because what that'll do is there's part A, you put that in, leave it an hour, mix it in nice and firm, and it'll sort of start the process of pulling all the yeast and stuff out of your wash. And then you chuck in your part B. You don't agitate it all. You just let it sort of mix gently at the top, and then it'll slowly sink down and pull everything down to the bottom.
And that's a 24-hour process to do the clearing. When you do the air still packs, though, air still packs are only designed for a 10-litre wash. So it's a measured out yeast, carbon, and clear, designed to just do that 10-litre batch in a very small fermenter, which is considered one standard wash run for the air still. It's also important to note that if you choose to do larger wash runs with things like the pure yeast, which I don't know where I've put it down now, they will not do the 8 kilos of sugar like Stu said. Those are only designed for a 6 kilos worth of sugar anymore, and yeast will really struggle. So it's really important to check whatever yeast you purchase that you are sugaring to the recommendation so that your yeast does its job.
Cool. Any more? I've just, it's funny. I know nothing about computers. I've just found a comments tab where all these people have been asking me questions. Dave Farrelly, hey, Stew Balls. That's my cousin. New name. Reflexive, did that one. Vodka, yeah, did that one. Stuck at home. Oh, no. Tim Pickard. Just put an order in, champion. We'll send it out to you because you're stuck at home. I was stuck at home for a week. It's not fun. No botanical. No other questions. Liquid yeast. Any funky farmhouse Brett types? Yeah, I think there is, Stoney. I'm not sure. I'm just waiting on the list to come through, mate. But I'll let you know. I think that's about it for this distillation. I don't think we can go into too much more because basically, without getting myself in trouble, there's a little bit of a fine line there. Obviously, you can't buy a still kit off us. You can buy the individual components to make your essential oils or your biofuel, and what you decide to do with it is what you do with it. So get familiar with those legalities, and you'll be sweet.
There's plenty of online resources as well, like really good videos, especially for the products themselves. So if you look up Pure Distilling, they'll go through the whole process of how to do it, how to set it up, how to run it, how to filter it afterwards, everything. So, and like Stu's mentioned, Jesse from Still It in New Zealand, he's very good. He's distilled everything, and he's done potato vodkas, pretty much anything you can distill, he's done it.
He's got a good what's the other thing? Podcast.
Yeah.
He's got a good podcast going as well. So
very knowledgeable, very funny, very approachable, and
he's
I'm
not
sure...
as funny as me.
No,
he's
that funny.
He's all right. Righto. What else is happening in the shop? 100 United Brewers. Giddy up. I'm just going to open. Can anyone still see me or not? Naomi, can everyone still see me? Excellent. The 100 United Brewers, their Homebrew Competition. If you jump on their website page, if you're a beer brewer and you want to get into a competition, there's about $5,000 worth of prizes, but it's comp.hunterbrewers.com, and it'll give you all the information you need. Very quickly, your sample needs to be at least 2 330ml bottles or 1 750ml bottle to provide sufficient samples for 2 rounds of judging. And there are certain categories. There's the champion beer and there's second and third placing for each category. So there is something here. I'm just wanted to confirm the beer styles they're doing. Lager ale, dark and strong, and some specialty stuff as well.
And it's really important.
You can have a look.
Yeah, and when you enter your for your category, be judged on the AABC comp guidelines, which follows the BJCP style guides, which means that read those guidelines so that you make sure you are putting your beer in the right category, because you're being judged against other beers. So you might have a fantastic beer, you pop it in the wrong category, you're not going to win. So just make sure you look at those guidelines to make sure you're putting in the right category.
Cool. And there's heaps of good prizes. There's like heaps of hops from HPA. Grainfather are even throwing in an S40 this year, which I've never known them to be so bloody generous. But anyway, now, of course, we're there. And there's a few little things happening with our name at the moment. Am I allowed to announce that today or not? Apparently I can. Just check with the Minister of War and Finance, the big boss. We are going to, the website's going to be, I've got to get this right, Noble Barons. And then it's going to be Newcastle Brew Shop, Port Stephens Brew Shop, and Western Brew Shop, or Homebrew Supplies. So you'll see our name change a little bit around the place, but everything will be the same. The little captain, he's going to go to a king. So don't stress if nothing really is going to change except for the name and a little bit of marketing stuff. But I don't do marketing. I just make beer and have fun with it. Don't forget the Stroud Homebrew Competition. Yeah. So if you want to go in a competition where there's not all heaps of checklists and stuff, because I'm one of the judges apparently, just make a good beer and we'll have a bit of a laugh. Enter it in the Stroud Homebrew Competition, and if I like it, I'll tell you. If I don't like it, I'll tell you. It's all good. So chill out. Any more for any more? That's all. Any more questions, guys? Yeah, that's it. That's it. Patina, do you want to add anything? Anything exciting happening at Newcastle? You won't see me much over the next few weeks, peeps. I'll be in Western enjoying the Hunter Valley hospitality, and I might say one of the greatest bakeries that I've ever been to in Australia is out at Western. And if I keep going there, it could be a little rounder than what I am now.
Having said that, your favourite Newcastle Brew Shop employee will still be here.
You will be. That's on board.
I do see that Stone has asked if you have any good recipes for Saison, so just let us know if you're chasing all grain or if you're trying to hit an extract in a Saison, and we'll be able to help you install Stone.
Cool. Too easy. All right. Thanks, Pedals. Cheers, Dave.
Cheers.
Yes.
Enjoy.
Patina.
Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. As long as you enjoy it, it's good. See you later. Thanks for the support. See you next time.